Hi, welcome to Oma's Kitchen.
Oregano.
I'd like to tell the story of a cookie. When I was growing up in Baltimore, it's called a Berger cookie, B-E-R-G-E-R. There was a bakery that made these and they were well known for them. It's a sweet sugar shortbread cookie with a pile of chocolate fudge on top. The chocolate fudge is really sweet too. I will post a link to the original Berger cookies in the description for this video. Because we've moved all over the place, it's definitely a Baltimore thing. So I created my own version of Berger cookies. And what I do is I use my Madeleine tin. You know, Madeleines are the little cakey vanilla French cookies that are almost fluffy. And they use these tins to make them. I make my Berger cookies with these tins. I actually pressed the shortbread dough into these so they have this little shell pattern on the back. And then once they cool, I make my own chocolate fudge to smear over the top. Now my Berger-style cookies are not as sweet as the original version. I actually kind of prefer them not quite as sweet. When I was a kid it was great, the sweeter the better. But now as a grown-up with grown-up tastes, I actually like the shortbread cookie a little bit less sweet and the fudge a little less sweet. So because I use my French Madeleine tins, I've named these Strasbourger cookies, like the city of Strasbourg, France, where the Madeleines originated. So let's make some today in Oma's Kitchen. These are shortbread butter cookies. Shortbread means no leavening in it. So no eggs, no baking powder, no baking soda, nothing to make the cookie get all fluffy. We don't want that. Shortbread cookies are this crumbly little sweet thing that's just wonderful. And they tend to have a lot of butter in them because the butter helps bring the flour and all the flavors together. So this recipe calls for 1.5 cups of butter and at room temperature. So I'm actually going to, because these haven't been sitting out very long and they're still pretty hard, I'm going to actually stick each one in the microwave for about 10 seconds each and come back so that I can cream the butter around in the bottom of my bowl. So I have softened each stick of butter for 9 or 10 seconds in the microwave. It depends on your microwave really, but you want it soft so that you can smear it around with your spatula, but you don't want it melted. You don't want it to get liquid. First we will cream the butter. Just get it kind of mixed out a little bit. Creamy butter at the bottom of my bowl. We want to add our vanilla bean. Can you see this in the camera? My beaten up cutting board. Oh, it smells good as soon as you open it. Get a little knife. Cut it in half. And then, can you see what I'm doing? Mm-hmm. Cut it in half lengthwise. Open it up. Press the back of the knife in and get all those beautiful little vanilla seeds out. And then put them in. And then the other side. Hold on to it, run the knife all the way down. Open it up. Get those beautiful little black vanilla seeds out of the pod. There we go. If you've never watched my mango pie video, I show you opening up a vanilla bean in that video as well. And all those vanilla beans, seeds go in there. Okay. So we have added the vanilla beans to the butter. Look at how it smears out. Look at that. We're going to add the powdered sugar next, 1/2 cup at a time. So I need to get out the 1/2 cup measurement and blend it in. This recipe calls for 1 cup of powdered sugar. So I'm going to add a half a cup each and blend in between. So here's about half a cup. All right, we will blend in the powdered sugar and with the butter and vanilla. And this will start to get a little bit fluffy as we go. You want to mix this together until it's very well blended in, because you're going to have to do another half a cup of sugar after this one. You can see your butter start to get fluffier as you do this. All of that powdered sugar blended in fairly well. You'll still see little bits of it, but that's okay. It'll blend in as we go. Okay, now we want another half a cup of powdered sugar. Okay. We will blend this in together. So you can see how your butter's starting to get fluffy. And blending in the powdered sugar really lightens it up. And I'm going to add brown sugar now. The brown sugar gives the sugar shortbread cookies a deeper flavor, and it makes a big difference in how these come out. So I have a light brown sugar. You could also use a dark brown sugar. And I only need a packed tablespoon, and I'll show you. With brown sugar, you want to pack it in there for your measurement. So this is a packed in there tablespoon. It'll come out like a little ball. Ready? Blink. Mix this in. Oh yeah. You see how fluffy my butter has become? This is the way it's supposed to be. Tablespoon of vanilla extract, which will soften up our butter and sugar a bit, so we can add the flour to it. In there. Wonderful. So I'm going to take my time so I don't splatter it everywhere. Gently. Okay. Now it's blending. Beautiful. Let's get that blended in better. We have our vanilla, our butter, and both of our sugars mixed together in the bowl. Now it's time to add flour. And I know this looks very thick. This is a very thick shortbread cookie dough. That's okay. We're going to add 1 cup of flour at a time. This is my all-purpose flour, and I have shaken it to add some air in. Put this here. Okay, 1 flat cup of flour at a time. We're going to do 3 cups of flour. Each time we put a cup of flour in, we mix it in with the butter and sugars. And it takes a little bit of elbow grease and a little bit of time. It will mix together over time. Seems like that's a lot of flour, but it really isn't. This is about a half and half mixture by the time you're done. Butter and sugar is on 1/2, flour on the other. We're back to a dough again. So now it's time to add the 2nd cup of flour. Second cup, 1 cup measurement. We start mixing again. This takes a little elbow grease, I have to say. You really do have to push with the spatula to get all this to mix together well. So, final cup. And really, this is all the ingredients for the shortbread cookie version of these cookies. The other side is chocolate. Now, I've named these Strasbourger cookies because of the beautiful city of Strasbourg, France, which is right on the German border. Has quite a few German-speaking citizens. The border right there between France and Germany has changed hands quite a few times over the centuries. So it's a mixture of people who speak German and people who speak French as their native language, although I have found many along the Rhine River that runs between France and Germany speak both languages quite well, and English. Burgermeister. So B-E-R-G is mountain.
Yeah.
So these are mountainer cookies.
Yes.
Okay. Berg or Berger?
Berg is mountain. Berger is a mountainer. Somebody
who lives in the mountains?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, since they're piled up with, since the original Berger cookies are flat little cookies piled up with fudge, it makes sense they would name them after a mountain, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have mixed together our shortbread dough, and you see how crumbly it is, but when you roll it up in your hand, one little 1.5-inch ball of dough. About that big. And I put it in my Madeleine tin, right here. I actually press down on it. And I press it into the actual mold itself. They don't rise much because they're a shortbread cookie. We didn't put any eggs or baking powder or baking soda in there. See? About 1.5-inch ball of dough fits in the tin perfectly. This gives you a uniform size and shape. I'm going to set that there. So I'm going to make a bunch, and then I'll flatten them all at the same time. I will put them in the oven at 325, 16 to 17 minutes. I'll bring them back in and show them to you when they come out of the oven. Now you can see they've gotten a little brown on the edges. And we're going to let these sit in the Madeleine trays for just a moment. These have to cool completely before you try to put the chocolate ganache over the top. Otherwise you'll just make a big melty mess of chocolate. Which, I mean, there's worse things, but let's not do that. For my gas oven, it turned out it's 335 for 17 to 18 minutes. What you want is this little bit of brown on the edge. Okay, because that's an excellent shortbread cookie. Look at this. That little seashell pattern on the back. Just be careful not to burn yourself. And all it takes is sticking a little spatula in the end and pulling them out. And then, oh, they smell so buttery and sweet and vanilla.
Yeah, it smells really good.
Yeah, they're really good, even just all on their own. I mean, I guess if you didn't like chocolate, you could just make these beautiful little butter cookies. And they're so nice. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. The ones in the center come out a little lighter. It's okay. So we have another batch of these to make, which we won't bother filming that. Okay. So we have 12 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. It can be any brand. You want semi-sweet chocolate chips. So those go in our bowl. This will be handled in the microwave. So you really want a bowl with a lid that you can put over it, because you're going to nuke it a little at a time. We have a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. And this is the only sugar we're adding, this sweetened condensed milk. There's no other sugar in the ganache. So this gets poured in there. A teaspoon of vanilla extract. This starts to smell wonderful in the microwave. And we're going to do a nice big fat pinch of salt. Anything chocolate oriented, salt really helps it. It's kind of a yin and yang thing. So this is a nice fat couple of pinches of salt in there. So we're going to cover this lightly with this cover, and we're going to microwave it 30 seconds at a time, and then I will show stirring it until it melts. Alright, this is 2 heatings, and I've stirred it once in between. And you can see it still looks like whole chocolate chips, but then when you stir it, you can see them start to melt into the sweetened condensed milk and vanilla. Once we get this completely melted, and I can't emphasize this enough, don't burn it, don't scorch it, stir it until there's no more lumps. See, this is just 2 heatings on my microwave, and I might be close. I stirred it a little in between, but there was still a lot of solid chocolate chips in there. Once you get it to this point, yes, you are adding some cocoa powder, which is not sweetened. And what that does is it darkens the chocolate flavor into more of a fudge flavor. Yeah, we're right up on it here. Once I add the cocoa powder to it, I will stir that in as best I can, and then I will heat it again for 10 or 15 seconds just to make sure it's ready to pile on the cookies. A whole tablespoon. See? Tablespoon of cocoa powder. And it's the last thing that goes in there. Let me stir this in. And you'll see it starts to want to seize up as soon as you add the cocoa powder to it. And that's good. That's what we're looking for. We want to be able to sit it on a cookie and not have it fall over the sides. Look at that. Oh, and it smells like fudge. And this will get nice and shiny on top of the cookies too.
You know I'm licking that spoon whenever you're done with it.
Alright, okay. Here comes the very, very fun part. This is gorgeous. It is not scorched. Okay? It is fudge ganache, and it is right at the right consistency. Now this will cool off as I'm using it, And every time it does that, you want to heat it 8 seconds at a time. And that is all, until you get it to this consistency again to spread some more on. Okay, so here's the seashell side, other side. You want to take about a heaping teaspoon, put it on there, spread it out a little bit, and then I usually turn the cookie around and take about another half of a heaping teaspoon and put it on the skinny side. What you want is half cookie, half fudge. And you have to kind of drag it along that edge. Okay. And there we have it. A Strasbourger cookie. And a little swirl on top never hurt anybody. See that? Mm-hmm. You gotta push this in though. There. So these go on my cookie sheet to cool. And I have it on my hands. Okay. 1 heaping teaspoon on the fat side. Kind of swirl that around a little. And then about half a heaping teaspoon on the other side. I usually kind of scrape around the edge, make sure it's piled on top. A little swirl on top. There you go. You want to leave it on top, so there you go. Number 2. Yeah, I can tell. I'm going to need to reheat. Alright. So let me reheat this and we'll come back and make more. See, I don't want to seize it.
Right.
Okay, next. Now it's all stuck to my spoon instead of my cookie. Alright. And I like swirling them around and giving them a little decoration on top. So I just think it's kind of cute. Like that. Beautiful. Wants to stick to my fingers. I need to wipe my fingers. Try not to lick your fingers the whole time you're doing this.
It's easier said than done.
I know. Alright. So swirly. There we go. Now we're going to let these cool. Then we'll put them on a plate for you and cut one in half so you can see what they look like all the way through. Thank you for joining me in Oma's Kitchen. If you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll upload more tasty videos soon, and a special shout out to Moon Pie and Lil Bit. Till next time.